Hey guys, it's the Jasmine brand here. We are about to see our interviews that we're going to do with the cast of the Undershepherd. We're going to interview Melinda Williams, Isaiah Washington, Robin Lee, Elise Neal, and Clifton Powell. So hopefully we'll get some pretty candid conversations about the film, what folks can expect here at Radio 1 in Silver Spring. Check it out. This is the Jasmine brand, and I'm here with two of the cast members from the Undershepherd, Isaiah Washington and Melinda Williams. How are you?
Fantastic.
Very well, thank you. It's a little cold. We had you in D.C. and we're in this room, so hope everything is okay. So, off the break, for folks that are not familiar with the film, and folks are going to see the film later today, can you just give us a brief synopsis of what the film is about?
Well, I play a minister, LC, Lawrence Case, as well as Lamar Rucker's playing my good friend, Roland Braxton. And we start off pretty much as men in arms in this church that was sticking together to become pastors. But the leadership, played by a wonderful character actor, Bill Cobbs, Wisconsin Jr., they are at the old regime, and they're not letting go of the power. And you pretty much get an idea, an understanding of how one character, Roland's character, which is Lamar, leaves and says, I don't want to be here any longer, waiting to become a pastor of the church. I want to be the undershepherd. I want to be the leader of my own church. And you see one leave, and you see my character stay, and the juxtaposition of what happens for one who leaves one way and what happens when one leaves this way. And it starts off like you don't know who's good, who's bad, if you want to look at that, who's more ambitious, and then suddenly you're in this world, and it's an intense world. You can't get out of it, and it grabs you.
Right.
By the, I don't know if you saw it.
I saw it. Yeah.
It grabs you and it shakes you up.
Yeah.
This is my fourth time seeing that level. This will be my fifth time tonight, and I'm still amazed at the performances and honored that the cast is just bringing it.
Right. It was very intense, and it threw me off just from the very beginning. Even your character, at the beginning, I didn't know what was going on. What about the script sort of attracted you, or?
I think that's one of the things about the script that attracted me. There were so many surprises. You never knew what to expect. Every time you turn, my gauge when I'm reading a project for whether or not I'm going to enjoy doing the film is, can I put that script down? And when I was reading that script, the pages, it's the same as if you're reading a fantastic book. The pages just continue to turn. They just turn. And then finally I found myself at the end of the script and I was like, okay, that was brilliant and I want to see more. The other thing is these characters aren't typical of what we normally see from African American actors. They're very well rounded, they're very well written, they're very in-depth characters. They go places that we don't normally get to see ourselves on film, but we know those places to exist in our real lives. So those were just a couple of things that that attracted me to the project.
Now, was there any apprehension? Because we are talking about the Black church. I don't know, was there anything that you were nervous about in terms of, am I sure I want to be involved, or is this character for me?
So you want to go there?
Yeah.
Oh, I did it because I was afraid of it.
Okay.
That's the kind of actor that I am. I've always been attracted to pieces that scared the daylights out of me.
Okay.
Because I wanted to be able to disappear in that world and see if I can come out of it on the other end still whole as an artist. So I just asked him after about page 13. I said, what is the company line? Because there's going to be some backlash, but hopefully we get it right, some good backlash. Because if we hit the marks and we really get this new truth out here, particularly about her character suffering from bulimia,
right.
We just haven't seen that before. I felt like reading this script, I felt like Love Jones. I got to page 13 on Love Jones, and I said, I just haven't seen these characters before. I will play the dirt on the floor to be a part of this project. And that's how I felt about this story. And then when I found out who were in the cast, and I said, okay, now I can go. Because I felt completely covered. And there's nothing more frustrating than being in a project and you're the only strongest actor in the whole project.
Right.
And just no way, no man, woman is an island. You cannot carry a film by yourself. It's just impossible. So when I saw the story and saw all the different people playing these different roles, I was like, okay, here we go. This was like Love Jones to me. I said, here we go. we're about to fly, because I know there's no one, there's no air that's gonna, you know, now we gotta wait on this guy, Russ Parr, see what he does, you know, in the editing room, and he did a pretty good job.
I wanted to, and you briefly already touched on your character who suffered from bulimia, and I think that's sort of an issue in the African American community that we don't necessarily address, or we think it's not our issue.
Absolutely.
Were you surprised to see that? How did you feel about playing that role? Did you do any research to sort of engulf that character, or that?
Of course, I mean, I definitely had to do research, because I knew very little about it from a personal standpoint. I do have a very good friend who actually wrote a book, Not All Black Girls Know How to Eat, on bulimia, and she's bulimic for Stephanie Covington's bulimic for very years. And one of the things that I realize is that, yeah, we typically think that it's a Caucasian issue, and it is not a Caucasian issue. Body dysmorphic disorder is everybody's issue, although in the African American community we don't talk about it, because who's going to start the dialogue? I think at this point I thought, you know what, if it's here and it's a platform, then maybe I take it on as my responsibility to begin the dialogue that nobody seems to know how to talk about or do not want to talk about. And also, because this woman was, in the film, she was abused, or she's being, Cassandra, the character, she's being abused. You know, there are many effects. Abuse manifests itself in different ways, particularly when it's of a psychological nature or an emotional nature. You never know how it's going to manifest. So I think the bulimia and the body dysmorphic disorder, I think the bulimia and the body dysmorphic disorder, the issues she has with herself, are direct results of her being abused and trying to figure out how to please her husband. What is she doing wrong? She has this. She's the first lady of this church, so she has to hold up this appearance. Yeah,
and image management is very intense, because once you set yourself up as the it couple, it's a lot of pressure, you know. And I really noticed that last night, is that they are, you know, holding up the standard, but they're crumbling in their own home. It's crumbling inside. You know, it's like what's really going on behind closed doors, and I thought it was just really interesting to look at the character one minute being completely not righteous or not spiritual,
right,
in one scene, and then the next scene he's at the pulpit, leading people, talking about, you know, just for me, I was like, it was hitting me going, wow, right, you know. But it begs the question, how many times have we been duped by leaders like that? It's like they're doing this like this. Well, I know we can say that with Marion Barry, but we still know that Marion Barry was a great leader. Right. But we also know what was happening now behind closed doors. I mean, I was here at Howard at the time when all that was going on. So it just made me feel like, wow, we're also participants in the crumbling of these kinds of leadership and relationships, because they don't get a chance to be normal human beings. Right. You know, that's the other part too. You know, it's a lot going on in our community, pressure.
And we aspire to greatness. We aspire to be leaders, and it's that old saying that says, "Be careful what you wish for." Because here are two people who wanted to be leaders. You know, they may have dreamed of heading the church or running their own church, and didn't even realize that maybe they can't handle that. Maybe they can't handle that information. Maybe they can't handle that amount of money. Maybe he can't handle that. Clearly, he couldn't handle that amount of power. Right. And she couldn't handle it, and as a result, they crumbled.
Crown of thorns.
Crown of thorns. Are we concerned at all about the backlash from the black church or the mega churches, or?
I welcome it. I brush my teeth with it. I want the backlash, because the only you know, words like that. I'm Joe Country person.
You are.
So you know, it's the truth. If it's the truth, wear it. If it's not the truth, then it's not gonna. You know, my mom always told me that the guiltiest dog yelps the loudest when you throw a rock. if that rock hits a dog that has no history of doing anything wrong, it's not gonna say a word. Or the emptiest vessel rings the loudest. So I did this movie to out those who need to be held accountable, including myself. My life is about the art, imitating life, life imitating art, is that we all in the 21st century have to be held accountable for our mistakes. There's no getting around it. You know, if you did something, own up to it. If you didn't, then say, that's a lie. That's not the truth. Now it's up to the people to decide what's the truth or not. And if you feel it, hopefully in this film, then you'll know, I think I may need to question my relationship, not to God, but my relationship to that leader. Not that I need to know, or do I need to know what's going on in that leader's private life? It's just a question. And that's the backlash I'm hoping for, is that people just dialogue about it, go, well, wait a minute. You know, there's a scene that I am amazed that women love so much.
Which I have.
The scene where the character there's a character that's pregnant, and he's pretending to be, you know, really emotionally distraught.
Right.
That scene, women were like, I thought it was horrible, but women go, that's my favorite scene. And then I'm starting to understand why. Because now in all of the women's relationships, they're wondering if their husbands or boyfriends, like when I was on the phone with him, was he really being sincere? Or, you know, to get me, you know, manipulation is a horrible thing. And, you know, we've all been guilty of it.